Welcome to Burn the Ship. This is the podcast where we connect entrepreneurs with professionals that can help you go all in on your business. We are very fortunate to have a network of business owners that we know are connected to, given referrals to, introduced to, that are willing to share some of their time on the podcast, explain some of their experiences, make your life a little bit easier as an entrepreneur. Juan, thank you for coming. I appreciate it very much. Anybody that dedicates the time, especially on a Friday afternoon, it means a lot to us. So thank you very much for that. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your companies.
All right. Thanks so much for the having me for the invitation. Yeah, I'm very happy to to tell where I'm come from and what I have done in the States. So I moved to the United States. I'm sorry. I'm Juan Naula. I'm from Ecuador. I moved when I was only 17 years and 10 months to the United States by myself with no English at all, man. I didn't know. Not even I think hate to say hello. But for to coming from a country where outside the United States, not knowing the language, it's very difficult to grow in the United States. And I think the first thing I have done it was to learn English because I had a really bad experience. So I started working as a dishwasher and the general manager. I had to clean the bathrooms in the women's and men's bathrooms. I used to hate it, man. So I didn't do one day, and the general manager come, and he didn't see that I didn't clean it, so he went crazy on me. And then I said that day, I promised myself that nobody else was gonna talk to me that way. So that was, I think, they pushed me to go and learn the language. So then I went to school, learned the language, ESL classes for 5 hours a day for 1 year. That was
Wow.
the that's how I learned, and it helps me. I think I think it helps because I was working at this restaurant where most of the people were English speakers. So that's why I quit, really fast. Like 3 6 months, I was speaking almost with no accent. Now I think I have a little bit accent because back and forth between Ecuador and Virginia. Yeah, and then I had a lot of businesses and small businesses here in the States. But I think the key is to know the language, to know the culture. And as an immigrant, so many in Latino communities, so many people they just don't want to learn the language. They just don't want to learn the culture because if you don't learn the culture, how you gonna do business? That's right. I think I've been very accessible, because I learned the language and the culture. So.
Yeah, for sure. So when did you get into starting your own business?
So I worked 3 years as a cook, dishwasher, and then fry guy, and then finally I moved as a kitchen manager when I left after 3 years, and then I took 3 months off to drive around the United States, and then when I get back, I went to work for 3 years as this floor company, and then actually it's 20 years on this month I had my business. So after 3 years working as a cook and then 3 years working as contractor, I start in May 2004. I start Edwards Floor. That's I still have it for 20 years. That was my first. I Maybe because I always like to do businesses, and so I was like, okay, I can't work for someone else. And then I asked to my boss, like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna open my own business, and he did help me a lot. So he gave me his full van with all tools, and then he started paying me as a job, not per hour. So that was when I started doing my own company. That's when I started with Edwards Floor. I started just doing floors, but as right now we do home improvement. We are a general contractor licensed in Washington D.C., Virginia, and also Maryland.
Sure. So how did you get started once you decided to go into your own floors? How do you get started on the sales side of things? Are you bringing on crews or contractors that you already had relationships with?
Um, I think I was very lucky. I had a good people on the way. Uh, I had a Brazilian guy, yeah, Brazilian guy that he was doing one while I was working with this company. We used to do the new houses in a very high expensive area in Potomac, Maryland. So I was the guy who do the floors, and then this guy from Brazil was doing the cabinets. And then when I started my own, I we went away, right? So on one job we meet. He was that was like 3 6 months later down the road when I start after I start my business. I met this guy, and he actually back then it was when I don't know if I can say the name, but Angelis, it was just starting.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So I didn't know back then. So this guy, the Brazilian, his name was Leo. He said like, "Hey, we were good guys, with good friends." He said, "Hey, here's a website you can learn from here." So that was when I started growing. He gave me all the information. I went there on Angelist, and that was the way I start. How I start. That was when I started getting all the leads. Like so many. And back then also, this other platform back then it was we're talking about 2005.
Hmm.
Um, Back then it was Service Magic. Right now it's Home
Hmm.
Advisor.
Yeah.
So then I start somehow one of the clients go and give me a review on the Service Magic website, and they call me. And I'm like, okay, I like technology. I was like, okay, let's do it. And we went crazy, man. 2005, 6, 7, 8. We were doing like 10 houses a week. I had it from I was doing myself. When I started, I was doing, myself with two guys from Argentina. We were doing the work. But we started going crazy. We went from, like 6, 10 months, we were three, and then year and a half, I had 28 employees. I had a secretary, and and it was crazy.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. And then 3 years all the way, from 2004 all the way to 2010, 9 or 10, when, the economy, all they hit the houses and all that crash. But yeah, it was crazy, man. That's
Sure.
the way. And and then on 2008, I believe so, I also opened. I like to open businesses. I cannot sit just, if I had one business doing well, I cannot just have sit back and relax. I don't know, man. I have to be active. It's just me. Same at the same time when I was doing this wood floors, I opened those little kiosks at the mall. I was I was selling coffee mugs, color changing coffee mugs. You put something hot in it, then go from one color to
Oh yeah.
another color. And I did very well, man. You cannot believe it. I was selling 40K a month on coffee mugs. Can you
Hmm.
believe that?
Oh yeah. No, I've seen it happen. I've seen some people get into that space, the Amazon reseller, drop shipping method stuff. I've
Yeah.
seen some crazy stuff. A buddy that I had in college was selling baby products like Gerber branded products on a drop shipping website, and he was making $100,000 a month.
Yeah.
While we were in college.
I didn't know, man. I was getting for 199 and then selling for 11.99. It was crazy. 40K, on coffee max back in 2007. It was crazy.
Right.
And also
Right.
I had another kiosk on a custom jewelry. I was ordering online, and I think it was coming from California, and then we would have those small. I think I did that for a year, and then we went too busy on the contraction. So I was like, okay, let's close down the stores and then keep up on with the contraction.
Has the construction been pretty even through like the Great Recession 2008 to 2010? You guys have been pretty steady all the way through that time up till now?
Yes, yes. I think 2011 or 12, it was really bad when we went from 28 employees, we went, I think, for to 7, 6, something like that. But we did it for 2 years, kind of slow when the economy, the house crash and all that. But other than that, man, we've been crazy. I think I know how to manage her. I know how to do businesses because my dad, I think I had my dad's blood.
Yeah,
So he has businesses all the time. So that's why I think I did pretty well. Um,
sure.
and then in 2012, I opened a travel agency back in Ecuador. Um, so I opened in Ecuador, and then I came here and opened here in Virginia. So what I was doing with I closed in. I always had Edwards floor, but all these small businesses, I had it for 1 2 years, and then I make some money, close it down or sell it, or
Sure.
and then I opened a travel agency, one in Ecuador and then one here. So what I was doing is, while I go to the houses to do the floors, I was like, hey, I have a travel agency. You want to go to Galapagos Island? They're like, and I was like, hey, if you buy it online, it's about 7,000 this trip for 75 days. I can sell it for 45 or 5K, They were like,
Uh
okay.
huh.
So I used to do like 1 or 2 trips to Ecuador with 30, 50 people every trip.
Wow.
Yeah, I did that all the way. Just we closed right after COVID. We had to close the 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 travel agency.
Sure.
Yeah,
Tell me
but
about your newest thing now. What we were talking about on the phone.
man, that's my big dream. It's I think just a crazy people start something like that.
Hmm.
On 2019, just before COVID, I was a rideshare driver, and then in DC, I was doing just on weekends. So, in like 70% of my riders were women, and then that was 2016 when I was rideshare driver. I was like, I should do some. I maybe I was like, maybe I can do something, and I was just thinking, and then I start every female come in the car. I was like, would you use if I had if there is an app just for woman to woman, woman driver for woman driver? Say yeah. So I start on August 2019. I start developing the app. I had $90 in my banking account
Hmm.
to start that business. So it's I mean, I'm not a developer. I'm just like, I guess, an entrepreneur. My background is 7 years of school. Uh, I had not even middle school, man. Um, so that makes it even harder for me, to become where I am. I think if I'm very happy whatever I have done it so far. I think I'm so successful. But the key was, to learn, I guess, the English. And if anyone is at this show, listen this podcast, I can tell them, if you learn the language, you can be very successful. And if you want to become something, you just have to put the effort. And if you really want to do it, you just have to put the effort. It's things to become a rich or millionaire. You can do from today to tomorrow. In real life, that doesn't happen, man. It's time. It's a step by step, a step by step. You see, I had a small businesses, like 10 small businesses, but now uh Allo is the new ride share app in the States that been developed. It can be big. It's so that's why I start, that's when I start developing the app. um it's been a very challenge, very challenge. uh I have I don't even know how to use Excel, man. And I do now, but when I start develop, I didn't know how to do it. So, but again, it's if you really want to do it, you just have to start. Uh, If you start it, you just have to keep going, going, going. When when something big, it's not easy. It's a lot of struggles. But if you can go through those struggles, you're gonna make it, man.
Yeah,
You're
for
gonna
sure.
make it.
100%.
I didn't, to be honest, when I started the rideshare company, Allo, I didn't know that was gonna be that much. I'm gonna need that much money. I didn't even
Hmm.
know the numbers back then when I started in 2019, 20. And then we start developing. I had to hire six developers, and then I start paying, and I see like all this money, just, um, getting all the money from Edward's floor and putting into Allo, and I like, damn, every week, 5K, 8K, 7K,
Hmm.
because if you want to do something, I like, in my, not everybody maybe doesn't think the way I think, but if you're gonna do something, I want to be the best. So I put the best technology in developing the platform, but it cost me a lot of money. So in this Egos is going to be 5 years, but last year actually because pandemic, the plan was to launch here in DMB area. That was the plan, but because pandemic happened, and my wife lives back in Ecuador. I've been married for 6 years, and she's in Ecuador. I'm here in Virginia, so things make it even harder for me. So I went to Ecuador just before pandemic. And then I was, I think, for a month in Ecuador, and they shut down Ecuador. Man, I was not able to come back to United States for 6 months. So everything has to change, and everything I had to replan. I was not able to launch the app here in DMV area. I had to launch in Ecuador because it was less cost money. We launched in Ecuador, but things when they have to when things has to happen, sometimes it's for the best. Because when I launched in Ecuador, the app, it helped me a lot to make better. Because if I launch it without launching in Ecuador, if I launch, let's say in LA, probably be gone, man.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
launched in Ecuador, and it helps me to get better because we have alo damas, right? I said alo damas.
Mm-hmm.
The translate, it says like alo woman, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's female for female. So I launched in Ecuador, and then a lot of guys, a lot of men, they were asking for woman. I said, no, that's for woman, just only for woman. You have, and everybody else has four categories there. I said, this is only for woman. So I had to fix that. So we were for about year, I think year and a half. But I think my biggest mistake, uh, it was to launch in LA too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Launched in LA last year, in April last year, and I think I did too soon because when sometimes when you go in from contraction to technology, it's totally different, and it's just so in launching in LA, I had 100K. I said I'm gonna do it with 100K. No man, 100K in 4 months was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing, developing, promotions was gone. So unfortunately, uh, I had to stop. Right now it's in standby. Everything is working perfectly, but we're not doing any marketing because we are looking for investment, angel investors, or we're trying to see if we can do crowdfunding because minimum we're gonna need minimum 1 million to relaunch
Right.
in LA area. But so far, the app is working perfect. People they loving it because there is a lot of security things that we put it. All of them as pet friendly. We're trying to pay more to the drivers. We are trying to charge less to the riders and offer a because my background is I wouldn't say poor, but it was a very challenge when I was a child. I had no electricity, I had no water, I had no TV, I had no toys. I had to eat once a day. I grew up with my grandma, so that helps me, I think, to be strong on these days, and also think to help it. If you need help, I'm just gonna do it without you don't have to ask me. But if I see if you need help, I'm gonna do it. So that's allo.
Right.
Allo is to not just to make money, it's to help people, both sides, drivers and riders. You know, that's about allo. I think that's about me. I like
Sure.
to help. I like to. I don't care if you are white, black, blue, green. I don't care. I don't. I don't really care. I'm. I help. You are a human. Just I help. That's it. So
Right.
that's what I put into allo. Because contraction, it's great. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either.
Right.
But allo, it's like it's my baby.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's interesting the experience that you gain from tackling an industry that has some technology wrapped into it is a very very interesting thing, and I look forward to trying to be an asset to that. Because why you do what you do is so important for everyone. For everyone that's watching this podcast, really trying to understand why you do something will really answer those questions of how you can do it more effectively in my brain. And there are people like myself, like Juan, that are willing to help you go through those things that you're inadvertently going to experience starting a small business, definitely a technology company. It's a difficult thing. So I appreciate that. Let me ask you this: if someone wants to be a customer of yours at Edwards, if somebody wants to invest in Allo, if somebody has questions, how do they get a hold of you? How do they find you?
I mean, you can find me. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can give you my email address.
Yeah, whatever you
Um,
want, however you want people to reach out.
oh yeah, great. So I'm gonna give you both websites. It's easy. Edwards is with W, not with W, it's with U. So EDUARDS and then floors FLOORS.com. That's for the contraction business. And then for the rideshare, it's ALOAPP.com. And there's all the information there, the address, even I think is my number there, my email address. My email address is JUANNAULA at aloapp.com. My social media and all social medias, I'm as Juan E. Naula. But if they go on Aloapp, I think they can see my social medias, their Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Um, yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to invest, help me with this crazy. I think you got to be crazy. So I think I must. Let me tell you something. My mom says, "Why are you always looking for trouble?" Because it's, you make good money with the contractual business. Why are you doing this? I like. I don't know, mom. I just want to do it. It's like I can't be. I have to do this something. I like to be in trouble all the time.
Yeah, progression.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Progression
yeah,
is addicting. Learning new things and marching forward on an idea and
yeah.
going through the flame to come out the other side is an addicting thing. I can relate to that. Let me ask you this, kind of the way that we always in the podcast here, right? And I think that you're a wonderful person to answer this question. But a lot of people that are listening are trying to figure out the steps and the things that they need to execute in order to start and run a successful business, right? Maybe they're 6 months away. Maybe they're in their first year of business and they've actually started. Everybody's in a different place, right? But for you, what is that experience of burning the ship and going all in on your business brought to you, right? Like, what kind of gratification do you get? And what kind of excitement do you get that out of your life? And why should other people seek out that same experience?
Okay, I have a couple points here. If you want to become, even if you have a small business, but you have, I think, to educate yourself first. You have to start read, open your mind, be open to learn cultures, languages. If you The more you learn, the more easy it's going to be for you to start your business. That's the key, I think. And then you have to learn marketing, even if you're not going to do it, but you have to learn. Right now you can go online and then you can take classes online. It's free. If you said no because I don't have money, you can start a business with $100. But educate yourself. Read a lot, man. But don't read any book. Read books that help you to grow. To open your mind. And then if you can go to learn, I like to go eat just to learn the culture or the food. I like to go eat in different type of restaurants. If you see a Thai restaurant, just go eat, read the menu, you learn something, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
then and a week later, you don't have to go in expensive restaurants, because when you're starting, you don't have much money. But go, any restaurant, just open, ask for a coffee and menu, you read, ask some questions. That's the way I think it helps you. You have to be like, your mind has to open, because if you live in a bubble, in your bubble, when you come to execute the business, you're not going to be, you're just going to see this. You have to see outside the bubble. I think that helps me a lot, because I like to read a lot. uh, I even sometimes don't listen any type of music. because everything that you read, that you listen, is going is gonna keep here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Don't you think?
I definitely, I rarely listen to music for that reason.
Yeah. So you know, if and try to have at least 8 hours, between 6 and 8 hours of sleep. And I see some people says online, if you want to become a good an entrepreneur, you have to get up 6 o'clock in the morning. I hate getting up early, man.
Oh yeah, I still do.
Yeah, but you just do it. You have to do the things that you don't want to do it. If you hate it, you do it. That's the way you train the mind. That's right, the way you train your mind. Do things
Oh
that
yeah,
you don't like it. If if you don't like to, let's say if you don't like to go running, just go running for 5 minutes twice a week.
right.
That is going to help you to do what any type of business. You podcast. You see, I do contraction. I have done in restaurants. I have to done a bus boy. I have to done landscaping. Now I'm going into technology. But I don't know anything about it. It's because I just read a lot about marketing, making my mind, my set mind that it's got to be strong.
Oh yeah,
If and then if you really like something, because nobody in life, not, I would say 1%, at this moment, they are doing what they like to do for life. You know.
I agree. No, yeah, it's a very low amount.
So I think to finish with this, I think you just have to educate yourself. Right now, I think at this moment, the humanity has the most information, free information, that never, all the times.
Yep.
So if someone doesn't want to grow, it's because they just don't want to do it. If I'm an immigrant with 7 years of school, when I moved to the United States, I didn't speak any English. And you see what I have done it, I think everybody else can do it, man.
Yeah, I agree completely. I'm in the same exact
Mm.
situation as you. Education is so important. Finding a network of people that are willing to help you is so important, and I hope that we can be a part of that. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I have some people in mind to introduce to you. I think we can shorten this journey for you a little bit because I have some friends, fortunately for the both of us, that have gone through a lot of those aches and pains.
Yeah.
So, if today is that day where you're deciding, do you keep going or do you quit your business? Just keep going, keep fighting one more day, work as hard as you can, educate yourself, find some way to motivate yourself, and train your mind that things that are difficult are possible if you work really hard. So one, I appreciate you coming again. I look forward to talking to you on multiple business fronts about your flooring business, about Allo for sure. Yeah, but I hope that this is the start of a long relationship because I'm excited to see where you're going. I really think it's going to be a cool thing. Truthfully, I mean
You know, oh man, I feel.
that.
Thanks for um. It's again, it's like I don't even know what to say, man. Thanks. No, it makes me feel so happy that your words, it means a lot to me because I'm alone on this. I
For
have no
sure.
partners so far. Um, my wife is hours away. My son, he doesn't live with me. He's 19, but it's uh, I want to say thanks so much, man. I know we're gonna have a good relationship, and I wanna see this podcast from 2 years from now. We're gonna remember this day.
Oh yeah,
I can tell
absolutely.
you, man. In 2 years, you see, Allah is gonna be so big, man. I
Yeah,
can,
I'm
I
excited.
promise to you that it is gonna be so big because when I launch in LA, I know that's the only way I'm keep going. I see how much they like it.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. That's the only reason I'm keep going, keep going. And let me tell you something. You are the first guy that invites me to a podcast. So this is a lot. I want you to remember this day, keep this podcast, and we're gonna meet in 2 years, man.
Oh
And you
yeah,
will see.
perfect. Yeah, I'll reach out to you early next week. I've got some introductions for you. I look forward to seeing you. You should come down to Atlanta. We have
Yeah, yeah.
quite the technology community. They're very helpful.
Perfect. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate your time. It was so nice to be here, man.
Anytime, my friend. I look forward to doing it again. I'll see you soon. Okay, I'll be in touch.
All right, man.